Namaskar everybody and welcome to the Geeta Satsang for today. Let us get started with the Prarthana. By the Guru's grace and the will of Sri Krishna, we have all assembled for this Geeta Satsang. May we have their guidance to be able to learn and adopt the things which will help us to grow spiritually. Let us chant the Shlokas. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsa Chanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Krishnaya Vasudevaya Haraye Paramatmane Pranatah Kleshanashaya Govindaya Namo Namaha Namostu Te Vyasa Vishala Buddhe Pullara Vindayata Netra Yena Tvaya Bharata Taila Purnaha Prajvalito Jnanamaya Pradipaha Ramanujadaya Patram Jnana Vairagyabhushanam Srimad-Venkatanathāryam Vande Vedanta Deshikam Yo Nityamachyutapadambuja Yukma Rukma Vyamohatastaditarani Trinaya Mene Asmadgurur Bhagavatosya Dayaika Sindhoho Ramanujasya Charanam Sharanam Prapadye. So with prayers at the lotus feet of the Acharyas, let us continue our shlokas. So we are in the 3rd chapter and in the last satsang we had seen up to the 7th shloka. So today we will take up the next 2 shlokas, which is shloka number 8 and 9. So in the 8th shloka, Krishna is continuing to explain to Arjuna about Karma Yoga. So in the 8th shloka, he says, Niyatam kuru karmatvam karma jyayo hya karmanaha Sharira yatra pichate na prasiddhyed akarmanaha. O Arjuna, you should perform your prescribed Vedic duties, since action is superior to inaction. By ceasing activity, by stopping activity, even your bodily maintenance will not be possible. So here, Krishna is telling Arjuna that it is better to do action rather than not do any action. So action is superior to inaction. So akarmana means not doing anything. But here also we must understand it is not just not doing anything, but it is used in the context as saying doing something other than karma yoga. So that means akarmana here refers to pursuing the path of jnana yoga, where you say that you will not perform actions and instead you will do meditation, you will contemplate and meditate on the supreme nature of the Lord or something like that. So that kind of a path is jnana yoga, and that is what is called as akarmana here. So here Krishna is saying that karma yoga is superior to this akarmana, is superior to jnana yoga. Why it is told as superior? Because this point is given from the point of view of benefiting the usual, normal, average kind of person. So more for all of us, we are not at the level where we have achieved sense control. So for such persons like us who don't have sense control, one minute please.
Business.
Okay. So for people like us who don't have sense control, for the average person who is engaged in sadhana, karma yoga is superior to jnana yoga. So if that is the case, we need to think also further that even now we said that if there is somebody who is doing jnana yoga, right? And he says, I will not perform any karma, I will just sit quietly. But to do that also, he needs this body, Without the body, there is no question of him being able to pursue jnana yoga, right? So, as long as this sharira is there and this body is required for performing sadhana, to keep this body intact, to retain or to protect this body from harm, he has to consume some food, or even to have the energy to be able to do jnana yoga, he has to need energy. So he has to eat, he has to consume something. So to consume that, then he has to earn his livelihood. So only then he will have something to eat. And if he has to earn his livelihood, that means he has to do some work. So even in this condition, that work what he is doing is something that cannot be avoided. So if you want to pursue jnana yoga also, you need to have some element of karma will be involved in that. We've already seen in some previous satsang that suppose somebody is just sitting in dhyana, even then he is continuing to breathe, his organs are still functioning, he will go to sleep, he may have dreams in his sleep, he may snore in his sleep, right? So karma is something which is inescapable. Nobody can give it up. So karma is the very basic step and it is required. Now, if you are going to do karma yoga, you maybe, even if you don't have any jnana, it's fine. You will get by because you will be doing the actions. But if you want to do jnana yoga because you are doing it with this sharira, then that karma yoga definitely is a part of it. So Krishna is trying to explain that how doing karma yoga is superior to pursuing the path of jnana yoga for an average normal individual. Of course, here we are not talking about the great siddhas or the yogis who have attained sense control. They may be at the stage where they don't even need to consume anything. They will just be living just like that with only the pranavayu running across, right? So we are not talking about such kind of evolved souls, about a normal person. And for such a person, karma is definitely something that he has to keep on doing. Now, Arjuna has a doubt in his mind that, okay, I don't want to do karma. So I don't even want to eat any food. I will not consume anything. And then if this sharira will perish, right? I will die when I don't eat anything for many days. Then when I die, definitely I'm going to get moksha, isn't it? That is the doubt in Arjuna's mind. So Krishna is again clarifying that if somebody does not eat and they die because of that, willingly they have killed their body, then they will not get moksha. Because moksha is not just liberation from this body. Moksha is liberation from the entire cycle of birth and death, from the Janma Mrityu, what you say, the cycle, that sagara of Janma and Mrityu. Getting liberated from that cycle is what is moksha. It is not just being freed from this particular deha, from this body. So if somebody does something like this, that they say, okay, I don't want to perform any karma, so I will not use this body, I will not feed it also, and then the body will go away on its own. Then they will only get swarga if they have done a lot of punya, and they will get naraka if they have accumulated a lot of papa. If not, if they have some particular effects to be undergone, they will get another janma. So they will not get moksha. Besides, if somebody is thinking of giving up their life voluntarily, that is, if they are committing suicide, then in fact that action will earn papa for them. So there is no question of being able to not do any karma. That is the important point that Krishna is stressing here. Now, Arjuna seems to have another doubt in his mind. Now, of course, all these are not expressed in the words of Arjuna, but this is what the acharyas have commented and explained to us, so that it is quite likely that we also have these same doubts in our mind. So now the next thing that comes in Arjuna's mind is, okay, now Krishna is telling me that I should not do anything to give up this body, right? Now, that means what? That death will come at whatever time is predestined for me. It is already determined by my karmas, and that will come. Then, how can I say that I am taking efforts to stay alive? Right? So, this is kind of contradictory that you say on the one hand that you should not give up your life. And at the same time, we know that we will die at whatever time comes to us. So, it is beyond our control. So, it is not actually in my hands to say that I will stay alive also. So here the acharyas explain that there are karmas are of two types. There is what is called as niyata karma and there is what is called as aniyata karma. So niyata karma are the destined acts. They are things which are predestined, and aniyata karma are the ones which are willful actions where the jivatma has a choice about what to do. Like if you take the story of Parikshit, we all know this story about Parikshit, isn't it? He was the grandson of the Pandavas. And we know how he went hunting in the forest. And then there he was very hungry and thirsty. And he went to the ashrama of a rishi. And then because the rishi was in meditation, he didn't offer him anything. Parikshit got very angry. He picked up a dead snake which was lying there and threw it around the neck of that rishi. And then he came back. Then the rishi's son came there and he saw that what this has happened, and he cursed that if this Raja Parikshit has done this, then he will die by the bite of a snake in 7 days. So this Parikshit being cursed to die after 7 days, that was destined for him by the Rishiputra's Shapa. So that was Niyata Karma. But then what did Parikshit do? He didn't just sit quietly after that. He didn't say, okay, anyway, I'm going to die in 7 days. What's the point of doing anything now? And he didn't give up like that. He made an intelligent choice. He made the right choice, right? What was his choice? That he wanted to be involved in meditation on the Lord. And when he went and sat there on the banks of the river Ganga and he decided to meditate on the Lord, Shukamuni came there, and then Srimad Bhagavatam was told to him, and he gave up his life after understanding all those truths which are explained in the Bhagavatam. So, this is what we need to understand, that the curse for Parikshit's death that determined when he was going to die. So, that is Niyata Karma. But what was his aniyata karma? It was his choice to listen to Srimad Bhagavatam. So, at any given point of time in our life, there are some things which are in our control. We can decide to perform certain actions. And there are some things which are predetermined. We don't know what is going to happen. We don't know what method, or what path our life will take. So, what is the thing that we have to do now? Wherever it is a question of our sadhana, we must make use of whatever um, choice we have to make the right decision. Right. Now, suppose let us say that I'm working, and let us say on work, I'm sent outside somewhere. And at that time, I have no option. I'm busy, caught up in work, and I cannot log in and attend the satsang. Now, that is not in my control. But then later, I have time in the day. Then I can make a choice that I want to listen to the recording of that satsang, right? Or let us say I have been sent out station. I am on work, but then there is some free time for me there. Then at that time, I am not occupied at the time of the satsang. I decide to log in, irrespective of where I am. Then that is my willful action. So there will always be some aspects in our life which are beyond our control. We don't need to crib about that and say that, oh, this happened to me. If we continue to use our willful action, whatever choice is given to us, if we use that in the right way, then Krishna himself will create situations in our life where more and more we have situations which are favorable for us, for our sadhana. So, this is what we need to keep in mind. So, in this shloka, in the 8th shloka, Krishna is telling Arjuna, you perform whatever duty is told to you. Why? Because this karma yoga, doing action, is superior to inaction, which is a part of jnana yoga. Just because you stop your external bodily activity doesn't mean that you will get jnana, doesn't mean you will get moksha, and you will not be able to maintain your body. Even to be able to do jnana yoga, you need a body. And to maintain that body, you need to perform karma. So you must perform karma. So karma yoga is superior to jnana yoga. Here Krishna has explained that. Now in the next few shlokas, Krishna is going to explain how that work must be done, with what attitude that karma has to be performed. What should be the bhava when we are doing that work? So in the ninth shloka, it's just like an introduction. Very specifically from shloka number 10 to about shloka number 16, Krishna will explain each step of what exactly is expected out of the sadhaka. So in the ninth shloka, Krishna says, Yajnarthat karmanonyatra lokoyam karma bandhanaha tadartam karma kaunteya mukta sangas samachara. O son of Kunti, O Kaunteya, he is explaining, work must be done as a yajna to the Supreme Lord. Otherwise, work causes bondage in this material world. Therefore, Arjuna, O son of Kunti, for the satisfaction of God, perform your prescribed duties without being attached to the results. So here Krishna is explaining now how the karma has to be performed, how the work has to be performed. So what he is saying, do whatever work you are doing, do it as a yajna. Do it as an offering to the Supreme Lord. Why? Because otherwise, that work, without this bhava, if you are doing, all such work will cause bondage. It will make you stuck up in this material world. So do whatever you have to do for the satisfaction of the Lord without being attached to the results. So if we just summarize whatever Krishna has told up to now in this third chapter, he has given many different reasons for doing karma yoga. First, we said karma yoga is something which is familiar to us because karma is something we keep performing right from the moment we are born till the moment we are dead, right? So it is familiar to us. For doing karma yoga, no one is expecting that you must have rigorous sense control. Whereas if you want to perform jnana yoga, you need to have very rigorous sense control. Then in jnana yoga, suppose somewhere your sense control drops away, then every chance of failure is there. But in karma yoga, because you are not expected to be in that strict state, so there is less chance of failure when you are doing karma yoga. And the fourth thing is, Jnana Yoga is a part of Karma Yoga. So, what is this Krishna is explaining now? Do karma. But how you do karma? Do it with the jnana that I am doing this for moksha. Do it with the bhava that I am offering it to the Lord. Do it with the bhava that I am doing it for the Lord's satisfaction. Okay. So, what was Krishna's doubt? That I am going to do karma. Now, when I do karma, those karmas will bind me in samsara and cycle of papa punya, because if I do some action, there is going to be some reaction which is going to come from that. If I do a good deed, I will accumulate punya. If I do a bad deed, I will accumulate papa. So the minute I start performing actions, will I not get bound in this papa punya cycle? And the minute I have more and more papa punya accumulating, definitely I'm going to remain stuck in this samsara sagara. Then how do you say that karma yoga will lead to moksha? So, in answer to that doubt of Arjuna, Krishna is explaining now this shloka and all the subsequent few shlokas. So, he says, Krishna says, there are particular rules. It is not that just because you do action, some action, any action, it is not going to lead you to moksha. It is not going to cause your spiritual progress. But if you do karma following the rules which I have laid down, then that karma will not be a cause for bandhana. So do yajnas, do deva puja, do your actions. How? With the following three criterias. Whatever you do it for the good of all people and not only for your selfish benefit. When you have to perform any action, think, is it going to be good for everybody else? Or is it only for my purpose? Like I want to get some benefit, so I'm doing an action. Now, when I do some action which is going to be for good of everybody else, then it will become part of karma yoga. And it will not bind me in the cycle of birth and death. But if I do something only because it is for my personal selfish benefit, then I will definitely get caught up. Then do all actions without any expectation that it should give you personal benefit. Any kind of an action that you do with that bhava that I don't want anything out of this. I am doing it because it is my duty and it has been told by the Shastras that this is what I have to do. Thirdly, do all actions with the bhava that this is part of my worship of the Lord. That I am doing this worship, this whatever I am doing is my way of doing puja to the Lord. So when we do our karmas with these three things in mind, then the actions that we do, the yajna that we do, that all becomes karma yoga. So what is it for us to learn? Now we think that, okay, Krishna is telling so many things here, isn't it? He's telling, do the work as the yajna. If you don't do like that, then you will be bound up in this material world. Do it for the satisfaction of the Lord. Do your duty because it is told in the Shastras. Do it without being attached to the results. So when Krishna is telling all this, we may think that it is very difficult for us. Because definitely, yes, in the initial stages, we all have difficulties in our life. And if somebody tells us, do this japa, your problem will get solved. Do this puja, go to this temple, light a lamp on every Saturday, do this particular stotra recitation, you say this shloka. And whenever somebody tells us something like that, whatever we are doing, whether it is a yajna or it is a puja or it is some form of spiritual practice, often we are doing it with some kind of an expectation because we want a particular outcome. We want our problems to get solved. We, those who don't have children, want to get children. People who are not able to get married want to get married. Some people may not have a job or they may have problems in their job. They have problems at home. So most of the time, if you see, when people turn more and more towards sadhana, then it is quite likely that there is something that is a problem in their life or there is some conflict which they want to resolve. I'm not saying that 100% of cases are like that. There will definitely be few people who have interest in this because of their past janmas. They would have developed, they will be at a higher spiritual level. Their sattvikata will be more. So maybe they will have love of God. Maybe they are doing sadhana because they want to progress spiritually. There are that category of people also. But the majority of people are the ones who do sadhana because they have some kind of a lacking in their life or there is some kind of a difficulty that they have and they want help to overcome that. So it's perfectly fine in the initial stages if we do like that, because instead of using some other method, instead of thinking that I will try to solve the problem on my own, I'm at least accepting that, okay, it is God who is going to solve my problem. I'm understanding that I have to do something to please the Lord and then my problem will get solved. So in the initial stages, it is perfectly okay that we will be doing our karmas. We are doing it with expectation. We are doing it for our personal benefit. We are doing because we are attached to the outcome. I want a particular outcome, so I am doing it. That is okay. But as we go further and further, we must develop to the stage where we do the puja we are doing, we do the actions that we are doing for love of God, out of love of God, because the Lord has told this, because doing this is anukulyasya sankalpaha, because doing this will please the Lord, because I want to make the Lord happy without any kind of personal benefit for myself, without thinking what I will gain out of it. So when I can do that, then I will have progressed in my karma yoga. Then my karma is no longer just karma, it becomes karma yoga. Now there may be somebody who is doing lot of puja and all that. But if the whole purpose of that puja is so that he should attain more wealth, then will you say he is a karma yogi? You will not say he is a karma yogi. You may say he is doing karmas, but you can't call him a karma yogi. Why? Because there is an expectation there. There is a selfish interest there. And there is some outcome which he wants and he is doing it. On the other hand, there may be somebody who is uh, not doing a lot of puja or somebody who is not really doing any particular action, but they are having the attitude that everything is happening by Lord's will, or everything is that I'm doing it for the pleasure of the Lord. Then that such a kind of person is definitely a karma yogi. So we are all definitely at different levels of this initial stage. So some people have big problems, then they do more and more puja. Some people have less problem. They may do lesser puja. Or there may be cases where at some time we are doing out of love of God, and at other times we are doing because our mind is anxious, our mind needs to be calmed down, or we are having some problem, we want to overcome that, right? So whatever it is, initial stages is perfectly okay. But as we go ahead on our sadhana part, we must perform our actions, perform even our puja yajna, whatever it is, for the love of God without seeking any benefit. So then it can be said that we have turned and, like, we are going ahead on the path of karma yoga. So to explain this thing of doing whatever you are doing without attachment, with a sense of detachment, there is a story which is told of King Raghu. We know that Lord Rama, the Vamsha in which he came, is called as Raghu Vamsha, and that Raghu Vamsha is called by that name because of this great King Raghu who came in that Vamsha. He was the father of the king called Aja, and he was the son of, I think, Dilipa. So this Raghu Raja was a very great, bhakta of the Lord. He was also a very accomplished warrior, and he was also a very he had a very strong sense of detachment. So he was a very good king, no doubt. He did all his duties, but he never had any attachment to anything that was in his kingdom or anything that he had, the power that he had. So the story is told of how this Raghu Raja, he performed what is called as the Vishwajit Yajna. And in order to perform that Vishwajit Yajna, he gave everything that he had away in dana. So at the end, once he had finished performing that yajna and that day came to an end in the evening, he had nothing left with him. He gave dana to such an extent that he had absolutely nothing to call his own. Okay. So he gave up everything means what? He will no longer have the palace and other things also. So he was in the forest, in the isolated place, in a forest somewhere. And there was a hut there. There was nothing in that hut. He was sitting there with some mud pot like objects, and he was getting ready to perform his Sandhya Vandana. So at that time, he heard two people talking and passing by. They were talking about him only. One person, they didn't know, they could not recognize him. So one person told the other person that, do you know how great our King Raghu is? You know how much he has done dana. He has given off everything. And he has given off in such a way that he has nothing left with him. How great, there is nothing more that he has with him. How great is our Raja, like that. The minute this Raghu heard them speaking, he stopped them and he said, what are you talking like this? Why are you praising this Raghu? So they said, why? Why should we not praise Raghu? He's such a great person. See, he had so many things, and then he has given off everything that he has. All his belongings he has given away. So Raghu said, you should not be saying like this. There is nothing great that he has done. So this other person said, who are you to criticize our Raja? We have lot of respect for our Raja. Can anybody do like that? So then this king revealed himself and he said, I am only that Raghu. And why I'm saying you should not say this is because when I was born, did I come with all these things? I came empty handed. That means nothing actually belongs to me. It is solely by the grace of the Lord that I had all these things. They were given to me. So, whatever was given to me, I have just given that to somebody else. So, how can you say I gave my belongings? It was not mine, and I gave it. So, how can I have a sense of ownership when I came empty handed and I know that I'm going to go empty handed? Now, whatever is in the middle, that is only something which has come to me by the grace of the Lord. So, what is my duty as a person who is receiving the grace of the Lord? It is my duty to make sure that none of my people are in want of anything. So, whatever I have, I will give it. And that is not considered as my belonging and what I am having here, what is mine, and so on. So, with that kind of a spirit of detachment, that Raghu Raja gave away everything. So, that example is given to explain that this should be the bhava of somebody who is doing dana. Now, when he was doing dana, when he did his giving away, it was a karma, it was karma yoga. It was not just karma, it was karma yoga. Why? Because he did it with the bhava that all this is belonging to the Lord and I am giving to people who deserve it. So I want something out of it. I want to hang on to something. I want to keep something for me. Or I am giving. That bhava also was not there. So that spirit of detachment should be there when we do any kind of an action. So this is how the bhava should be. There is another story which is told sometimes to show how it is so difficult for human beings to, have this detached spirit. Even if sometimes we give away things and all that, still we think I am the giver. Okay. So to explain that, there is a story which is told. I heard this, some North Indian saint was explaining this in his satsang. I don't remember the person or the context, but the story I remember what was told. So once there was one Raja who, over a period of time, he decided that, okay, now I'm giving my Rajya to my son to manage, and I will go into the forest and I want to do sadhana. I want to do, spiritual practice. So he went, and there was a very famous sadhu there. There was a very famous rishi there, and that he went and spoke to that rishi and said, "Please accept me as your disciple. I want to become your shishya. I want to give up all this world and everything." So then that sadhu told him, "No, I don't want to accept anybody as my disciple or anything. I don't have time and energy for all these things. I can't take you as a disciple. You do whatever you want." So this king decided that, okay, anyway, I have decided to give up the world and come here to the forest. So what is the point if this sadhu is not accepting me also? Fine, I will sit and I will do dhyana on my own. Whatever I know, I will try to do that. So he sat under a tree and he kept on, meditating. After some days, this rishi passed by that side and he saw, okay, this king is sitting and doing dhyan. So what he did, he called out to the king. He said, "Are o Raja." This king didn't respond. So again, he called out two, three times. That king didn't respond. He opened his eyes, he looked at the sadhu, but he didn't respond. So the sadhu went away. This king continued doing his, meditation. After some days, again that sadhu came there. And he said, "Are o Tyagi," he called out. Again, that king didn't respond. He didn't look up. He didn't say, "Yes, did you call me?" Nothing. He just sat there. The sadhu called out two, three times, "O Tyagi." Tyagi means one who has renounced the world, one who has, given up everything. "Arey, O Tyagi, Tyagi," he said. He didn't respond at all. So the sadhu, then he was very happy. He told that person, he said, "I'm very happy. When I, first day I came, some days back I came and I called you Raja. So at that time, you didn't respond. That means you have lost your identity as Raja. You no longer think of yourself as Raja." Then the king said, "Then why did you come after some days and call me as Tyagi?" So the sadhu said, when we give up something also, we have this image of ourselves. We consider our identity as being the person who has given up that. So I was testing that when I call out to you as Tyagi, are you hanging on to that identity that I am a Tyagi? If you had responded when I said Tyagi, then it means that you have actually not given up because you are attached to the feeling that you have given up. So when I called you Tyagi and you didn't respond to that, that means really in the real sense you have done Tyaga. So that is why I am happy now. And now I will accept you as my disciple and you can come. I will take you ahead. So this is told to explain to us how it is very easy to say that I will do with detachment. I will have, attitude of not being attached and all. But in reality, even if we give up things, we have this impression, this thing remains in our mind that I gave it up. Even that should go. So to that extent should be our performing action without any expectation. Of course, for us, these things are still very, very, very far away. But until then, at least let us do whatever Krishna is telling us to do with that bhava. Let us try to cultivate that in every step wherever it is possible for us. We should try to remember these things. Many times we are not at the level where we are naturally flowing into this kind of a bhava and all that. So what is the purpose of telling this repeatedly in the satsang or listening to it again and again or reading about it repeatedly? Why should we do that? Because we need constant reminders. We need to be told that this is what your bhava should be. So if we are hearing it again and again, then what will happen? We will, at some point, it will penetrate inside. At some point, suddenly, when we are doing something, we will remember that, okay, I'm supposed to do like this. So, slowly, little by little, one action here, one action there, like that, we will start trying to adopt these things in our actions, and then we will progress ahead. So, let us pray that Krishna will bless us to be able to follow this path that he is laying out in the third chapter. We have come to the end of our time for the satsang today. So it is time to offer Kritagnyata. Let us offer gratitude at the lotus feet of Sri Krishna and Guru for inspiring us to start and join this satsang. And let us pray for their blessings and grace to always be on us. Thank you, everybody, for joining. And we will meet again next Thursday as usual. If there are any questions about whatever I have explained, please send them in the chat on WhatsApp or somewhere. Hmm? Okay. Thank you, Pramila Aure. Thank you, Ranjini. Tulsiram. Who else is there? Chudamani Mami is there. Geeta Mami is there. Okay, I think
Thank you.
Prabha
Thank
Madam
you.
is also there. Thank you. Namaskar.